I'ma trust the whole damn process for the record, till we breaking records. Reminisce about the past days, now we rise and fly. Journeys to the sky, azimuth inside my grip, always know the way now. Beauty fill my days now, take it day by day. Sound couldn't be prouder, cause you know we alive. Hey.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to In Process, Azimuth Theatre's podcast celebrating and uplifting the community that we have. Today, I'm very excited to welcome into this space Carly Neis. Hi, Carly.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Oh my gosh, I already love the energy you're bringing in. Oh, this is going to be a great conversation.
Excellent.
How are you, Carly?
I am so good. It's been such a great day.
I'm glad you're having a wonderful day. So, Carly, for some of the folks at home who don't know your story, do you want to share a little bit about your journey and what led you to theater? And feel free to share as much or as little as you'd like.
Sure. So I started out in theater actually semi-professionally in Toronto when I was 8, somewhere around there, and got my start there and had steady work. And then we moved a million times, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to do theater for fun or, I was a child, so I experimented with other things. And then when we moved here, I was like, I need to get back into theater because it's really where I belong. Because my parents used to put me in like dance classes because I hated physiotherapy, and they put me in voice lessons to help with diction because, I was a stubborn child. So when I finally decided I actually wanted to go into theater for fun and eventually for work, I started working with a wonderful community organization over the years that does reviews, which are like basically themed shows with a bunch of songs and a little bit of a script. And, I could get away with doing songs like Chorus Line or something like that, which is great. It's great to put on your resume that you've done weird stuff that people in wheelchairs should never be able to do. It's great. I love freaking people out like that. And then just in the last 3-4 years, I was doing a fringe production and had a really hard time when it came to people meeting my access needs, like within the company I was hired with. Mm-hmm. And so I had randomly posted on my Facebook one day that, like, I wish I could fight the inaccessibility of art with art and write my own show. And I really wasn't expecting much out of it. And one of my best friends came up to me and was like, "You want to write a show? I'll write a show with you." And I was like, okay. And I was like expecting it to be maybe a year-long journey and maybe we just do a couple of workshops, do it at Fringe and be done. And now we're 4 years into it and have had like 5 different workshops of it, and it's about to debut at Expanse, which is amazing. But through that whole process, I have officially decided that like professional theater and professional arts is where my heart lies, and the way the art scene is changing over the last year or so. It's easier for me to see myself as a disabled actor and creator on stage and off stage and in every role that I possibly can. So luckily enough doors have opened and I've been able to kind of shift over into professional world.
I'm so glad that the universe heard you at that moment and went, "Oh, you want to do this? Great. Yeah. I'll send you the pals you need."
Right? Like, my family and some of my friends are still like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm getting paid to do what I love for the first time in a long time.
Oh, and that's what I want to hear from all of everyone,
Yeah.
I just want everyone to be doing what they love,
Yeah.
And so the show that you're debuting is Tune to A, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, how has that process been, especially preparing it to what you call debut? Because, I mean, it's obviously had, like, tons of iterations in the last 4 years, but what makes this what you would consider, like, a debut?
It's been so amazing because I haven't been in the professional world for long enough, I had no idea. I knew what a workshop was, but I had no idea how much effort and planning and, like, the purpose of workshops actually was. So every time we've taken it and done a workshop, we've kind of dismantled it for a reason. Like in December of last year we actually got the opportunity to do a workshop with Judith Thompson.
Oh, wild.
And we, like, every single actor was disabled, and I got to sit back and be a writer in the room. So I got to actually see the show from a bird's eye view. And, like, just having that and the conversation that came with it was, like, one of the most powerful experiences of my life. So every single workshop that we've done, we've kind of broken it down for different reasons. Like, we've had a music workshop and a staging workshop. And then in July was the first time, thanks to COVID, that we were able to have a workshop in space and, like, start working with designers and figuring out, you know, what actually needs to have it on its feet.
Yeah.
Because that's another weird world. I'm used to being in everyone else's show, and I'm like, great, a costume won't fit or it's not accessible, I'll make it work. But, you know, having people around me that'll be like, no, what do you need? I'll build it for you, was a really amazing opportunity.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. I'm so excited to see it.
We start rehearsals in February, and I'm so looking forward to actually getting to spend time with it as an actor and not as a producer and a writer. I just get to sit with it as an actor.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
Well, and you've had enough time to play with it as a writer, so you want to get in there and play, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's kind of your vibe. Like, I feel like a lot of your vibe is, I would just want to play, you know, I
Right.
just want to do it. Let's see what comes out. Where do you think that comes from?
I think that comes from honestly being a disabled creator, because you don't get a lot of opportunities to play. You have to fit into everyone else's boxes,
Yeah.
right? So when I get the opportunity to sit down and just be an actor, put one hat on, and be in a room where I don't have to do a lot of homework for other people and explain everything that's going on, I just soak it up for everything that it's worth, because I know that, you know, every opportunity I get from this point forward will be a different opportunity, and that's great.
That's such a beautiful outlook to have. So you're doing this show for Expanse, but you're also a part of the ASMAP program here at Azimuth. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you see the ASMAP program as being?
Sure. I think it's like the best program to come out of the theater world for lots of different reasons. But like, to just be able to bridge that gap for folks that have never been able to have that bridge kind of open to them is amazing. Like, I went to theater school because I originally wanted to be a drama teacher, and I got told one too many times that there was no point. Like, that either I was supposed to be in technical theater or that I just wasn't supposed to show up every day. You know, just stupid excuses like that. So everyone else might have a BFA behind their name and might have the experience, but I don't even have the opportunity to build my resume right. So and that's part of the reason why I went into arts admin as well, as a kind of a supplement, was that I knew I could build the producer side of my brain and then eventually wheeled myself back into the artist part of it. So I think this is a wonderful program in the sense of we do get classes like musical theater or voice or clowning or whatever gaps we haven't had the opportunity to explore yet. But then we also get to sit beside Morgan and Sue and figure out how to be artists. Whether it be things like how to do social media or how to build a website. I finally figured out that I probably should have a website. You know, and that's the beauty of being an artist in 2021, is that there's so much that comes with your name that you can market yourself as an artist, but then I also do consultation for the arts community in disability awareness. I also do public speaking. I also am a playwright. I'm also a producer. So finding a way to kind of meld all of that and figuring out how to sell yourself as a human in the self-employed world is a weird world, but I'm so glad I have the opportunity to. And the level of instructors that are coming out of this program, I'm stoked to learn every single thing that I can.
Was there something in specific that you were like, this is why I want to apply?
some of it was because I just wanted a network. Like, I've been so fortunate to be around my Tune to A team for the last however many years, but having people outside of my usual team and kind of pushing me outside of my comfort zone too was important to me, because like generals still scare the crap out of me because I'm not used to like being able to be welcomed into a room yet. So I'm hoping that by the end of the program I'll have enough material behind me, whether it be, you know, musical theater or straight stuff or Shakespeare, that I can like walk into a room and confidently not be seen as the disabled one.
Yeah.
And to just be cast as like, I don't know, whatever the lead might be, and it won't matter that I sit instead of stand, right?
Where do you draw your inspiration from? Like when you start to work on a script or when you start to work on a piece that you've mentioned it a couple times already, but are you a musical theater person?
I am. I grew up in musical theater.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you have a role that you're like, this is the role for me?
I would love to play, this is gonna sound really weird, but I would love to play Miss Stacy in Anne of Green Gables.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A, because it's a really long contract, but B, I feel like Miss Stacy is like a part of me in the sense of like that strong woman that like gets things done, but also has like the heart of gold. I feel like if anyone was to put a stereotype on me, that would be me.
That's the one that you'd be like, I'll wear it proudly.
Yes, I will.
That's awesome. And where do you draw your inspiration from? Like when you start to work on a script or when you start to work on a piece that you're creating?
A lot of it comes from like realizing what doesn't exist in the world right now, and realizing that it's okay to create things and it's okay to take up space and it's okay to just exist.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember Tune to A going from like, let's put a montage about being in band class to let's make a show about being in band class to like, no, let's deal with like allyship and friendship, but also have it based in band world. You know, like, and that's the beauty of creating your own work, is that it can sit in a place for a while and then you can look back at it and be like, yeah, I kind of like where this is going, so I'm gonna draw on it more in this direction, right?
Totally. Yeah, and I think that's something that's so beautiful that isn't really talked about, because sometimes the arts can be so focused on product, but the process and how a piece can grow and evolve, it can be so beautiful. It can start from one thing and completely evolve to something so different.
Yeah.
But it's still that same piece.
You've still got the little, you know, heart nuggets is what I like to call it, or the heart center, right? You know?
I'm totally stealing the word heart nuggets.
You're welcome. We should start a list of Carly-isms.
We shall, and like get them on a t-shirt.
Yeah, great. That's what I want by the end of Azimuth. It's just a t-shirt.
That's it. I just want t-shirts with my isms. Goodness. Okay, so since you brought it up, I mean, obviously, we're gonna get you the shirts with the isms.
Okay.
But besides that, like, what do you want to get out of this program?
A big thing for me is confidence, in the sense of like, again, that I can walk into a room, because I've never been given that opportunity. And that's what I love about where this program sits, is it's kind of like a workshop, in the sense of it's never been done. This is the first year. So we can truly tailor it to what both Brett and I need to be able to exist and flourish and just be successful after the program is done. So, you know, I would like things like, you know, an audition book that's done and complete that I can pull out at any time. Mm-hmm. And I would like maybe to start on a different adventure and do my own cabaret, because I would like something like that is super exciting for me. And I would just love the opportunity to like learn from people that I haven't learned from, because really I've only had that one community theater organization that's like, and even then there's only been, you know, one or two people within that organization that's been like, nah, you can do whatever you want. Like, we'll just make it work. My music director, one of my favorite stories is that a couple years ago for Fringe, he was like, I'm gonna give you a dance number. And I was like, you're gonna do what now? Like, we'd known each other for 10 years. And he's like, I'm gonna give you I Can't Do It Alone from Chicago. And I was like, okay, great. And then, like, a day later, he came back and was like, so the dog's gonna dance and you're gonna sing. And I was like, what? He's like, just do it. You'll be fine. And it's seriously the best number that I've walked into an audition. And I use it to break the ice because people just don't know what to do with me. So I love surrounding myself with people like that. And, you know, that particular person will always be in my corner. But I'm looking forward to finding those few other people that will also be in my corner and that can build off of my strengths.
I gotta say, like, I know we haven't spent a lot of time together.
Not
at
yet,
all,
no.
But there is something so wonderful about, like, this bravery you have that you're like, I'm just gonna do this thing and can nobody stop me. Where does that come from?
It's gonna sound cheesy, but, like, my parents were one of the best, people to, like, I was born into the right family in the sense of, like, they're not the biggest fan of me going into the arts yet. That's still, but I think everyone's parents is like that. You want to do what? And be self-employed? Yeah. But they're like, sure, you want to go pretend you can be a figure skater, but really we know you'll never be a figure skater? Okay, we'll do that, right? And I think it can be a blessing and curse because eventually you're going to figure out that you're different than everyone else. Mm-hmm. But you've still got to have that, like, attitude that lets you get through the day. And you've also got to give yourself permission to have those really crappy days, too. To let your circumstances win. But that doesn't mean they need to win every day.
That's beautiful. Yeah, you do. Oh, my God. This is speaking to my soul. Because, like, sometimes the crappy circumstances definitely win. But I love the idea of, like, well, okay, so they won today. Tomorrow shall be different, you know?
Yep.
Beautiful. So, do you remember the first piece of theater that inspired you?
The first piece of theater that inspired me was actually Lion King. I saw it in Toronto in the big theater, and it was the first show that my grandma ever took me to. Like, my grandma was a big theater fan and still is. Like, had season tickets for the Persephone Theater for years. And she took me to Lion King. And I walked out of there at intermission and said, theater is puppets. I can do theater. I don't even have to do anything else. So I thought every piece of theater was puppets. And I thought, like, I could get away with it. And little, like, 6-year-old Carly wasn't looking at who was on stage. I was just like, I want to do something with puppets.
Oh, my God.
That was my life goal. Little did I know that perhaps it wasn't always puppets. And that there was a lot of work behind it. But that's been one of my favorite stories to tell. And pretty great for the first show that you ever go see.
Yeah.
Right?
Have you done anything with puppets?
No. My fine motor and puppets scare me, but, like, I am also not afraid to learn things. So if you have a way for me to do it successfully, then let's do it.
By no means am I a puppeteer. Let that be said. However, I started working with puppets in May, and it has changed my life.
Really?
If you want to talk puppetry, we'll talk puppetry.
We'll make it a date then.
Oh my gosh. Yes, we are going to chat puppetry.
The joys of this ASMAP program. You can decide, in the middle of a podcast that you want to do puppetry.
The In Process podcast is brought to you by the Canada Council for the Arts and Azimuth Theatre's Traversing the Azimuth Multimedia Branch. It is our aim to continue to introduce and deepen the relationships between our community and the artists within it. To keep this podcast going, go to azimuththeatre.com/donate to help with the continuation of this podcast.
So besides theater, what's something else that brings you joy or something that you use on those days where you're having stressful time and you're like, I just want a little bit of joy in my life?
Well, Theater has become a solid, it can be for work, but it can also just be for fun.
Yeah.
Like in the sense of like throwing on a show tunes playlist also almost saves me every single time. But I am so friggin' lucky to be able to have dogs with me wherever I go. So dog snuggles is also great.
Nobody can argue with that.
No.
Ugh.
No, and this one hasn't had a chance to figure out if he likes theater yet. So we might have to come up with a new version of I Can't Do It Alone and throw him in it.
He's also a part of the ASMAT program, so,
Perfect. Yeah.
Do you have a specific, I know we talked about Anne of Green Gables, but do you have a specific song that is like, this is my song?
Like one that I already know that's in my book, or one that's like a dream?
You can give us
one?
both if you want.
I think the one that I've like fallen in love with recently is Someone Like You from Jekyll and Hyde.
Yes.
I love me a Sit and Bark song, but also like just in general that song, especially over COVID, like finding your people and relishing in that has been such a beautiful message to learn and kind of bring forward. So that's one that's currently in my book that I can't wait to use in a room again. And then other than that, I would love to figure out how the heck to do chorus line as someone in a wheelchair.
Yo, I think that would be so cool.
I think we should figure it out because I really want to do it.
Let's do it.
Like Nothing and Dance 10 Looks 3 and I Can Do That. Can you imagine like a tap number with I Can Do That with Carly on like hand taps or something?
Listen, it would be amazing.
I'm also like 5 feet sitting down, so I would just love to be in a chorus line and pretend to be tall for like 2 hours of my life.
That show is wild.
It's a tough one, but
yeah. Have you seen there's a documentary about the making of it?
Yes.
Yeah, you have.
Yes, I have. It's what happens when you're really good friends with your music director is that you often end up watching things that make no sense to anyone else, but you're totally okay nerding over small things.
Now, do you have a favorite treat that you go to, like a snack or something that like you're like, this is my jam?
That's a solid question.
We're getting to the hard-hitting questions now.
Right? For snack-wise, give me some good kettle corn and I'll be super happy. Food-wise, give me a plate of pierogies and I'm set.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, as somebody who didn't have pierogies in his life until I was like 12, I discovered pierogies and I was like, this is beautiful. And then someone showed me blueberry pierogies.
Ooh, yes.
Like, where have they been, you know?
Yeah.
Now, I know you're working on your show and stuff, but also, what's a dream project?
The more I think about it, the more like this like Carly Cabaret thing is like circling around in my brain. Just because like it's taken me a long time to be comfortable with my story and to be able to take up space. But now that I'm kind of like learning to do that, I think telling my story in a kind of a collection of songs, but also like I would love random medleys to show up every once in a while. Like my music director for years has wanted to make me a walking medley of like all these songs about walking just so that I can show up in an audition and freak people out. So like adding things like that tell my story but also tell my personality and that kind of, make people walk away and think.
Yeah.
Because I think we're still on the cusp of like diversity is good in a room, but how do I actually do that?
Well, and everyone's reworking their muscle brain around like diversity, right? I totally feel that.
And it doesn't matter whether you're able-bodied or disabled. They're like, just, it's all, you all have a part of your story that you have to now rework.
Yeah.
Like, we're now in a weird world, but in a world that, like, appears to be shifting in the right direction. So I think that is one of my, like, bigger projects for myself. But I also think, like, working just outside of Edmonton and, like, creating a brand for myself is another, like, huge goal. Mm-hmm. In the sense of, like, I can spread my wings a little further now. Like, I have enough leverage behind me now that I can, convince people to have me in their room.
Mm-hmm.
And you're always gonna find people, even if it's not your parents or your partner or whomever, you're always gonna find people that are just gonna be like, you go do you. Like,
Yeah.
I will be there to support you. You go do you.
Finding your community is so enriching. Like, finding that community that's going to be like, I support you.
Yeah.
You go do your thing. Let me know if you need help, but otherwise, you got this. Like,
And I think the beauty about an arts community is it's so reciprocal.
Mhm.
Like, in the sense of, like, I have built a room with so many allies, but then I get to learn in the same breath how to be their ally
yes.
and how to be their stage moms and how to just be their cheerleading section. You know, like, it's so great. And artists are people that, like, you might not see for 6 months because you've been on contracts, but you can pick up, like you know, tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
right?
and the bonds that are created working
Yeah.
on art together.
And especially, like, working on your own work. It's like you go into some deep places,
Yeah.
but places that you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know that it's a good piece of theater if you walk away, take a good breath, and then give yourself a smile. Like, that's beautiful.
That is
it? Yeah.
beautiful. Thank you. We're going to end it on that note because that was a great ending. Thank you all again for joining us. Again, this was Carly Neis. Trust me, you're going to be seeing tons of Carly in the future. And Carly, thank you one more time for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Oh, thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, pal.
Enjoying the conversation? Traversing the Azimuth is a brand new branch of Azimuth Theatre, aimed at connecting artists with a wider community, deepening mutual understanding, and getting to share each artist's process and journey.
If you would like to continue hearing these amazing stories, you can help out by going to azimuththeater.com/sponsorship and sponsor Traversing the Azimuth. Your sponsorship will go straight into paying more artists to come and share what it means for them to be proudly in process.
We would also like to take this moment to thank the Canada Council for the Arts for their support in the pilot of this project. For more information on Traversing the Azimuth, go to azimuththeater.com/traversing.